In the small village of Aroko, nestled deep within the fertile lands of Nigeria, lived a young woman named Kemi. Aroko was a peaceful place, surrounded by thick forests and a gentle river that provided the village with fresh water. The villagers lived simple lives, farming and trading, but they valued community and hard work above all else. Kemi, though not rich or famous, was loved for her gentle heart and willingness to help others. She lived with her mother, Iatinu, and her younger brother Dele. Kemi's father had passed away many years ago, leaving her mother to raise the two children alone. Despite their challenges, the family was close and supported each other. Kemi spent her days working in the fields and helping with household chores, but there was something special about her. She was always ready to lend a hand to anyone in need, no matter how tired she was. The villagers admired her, but there were those who looked down on her because her family was poor. Kemi didn't let this bother her, though. She believed that kindness and love were more important than wealth. Despite her good nature, Kemi often faced cruel gossip from some of the other young women in the village. Ajay, the daughter of one of the wealthiest men in Aroko, was known for her beauty and pride. She and her friends would often tease Kemi for wearing old clothes and not having the fine jewelry or elegant fabrics that they had. "Look at her," Ajay would say, her voice loud enough for Kemi to hear. "She doesn't even have a single necklace or bracelet. How can she expect anyone to notice her?" Kemi would blush but remain silent. She didn't have the money for expensive clothes or jewelry, but she didn't mind. She found joy in other things, like helping her mother in the market or listening to her brother tell funny stories after a long day. Still, deep down, Kemi wished that she could be more like the other girls. She didn't want to be admired for her looks, but she longed for the chance to feel beautiful and special, just for once. Every year, the village of Aroko celebrated the Festival of Osun, the goddess of the river and fertility. It was the most important event in the village, filled with music, dancing, and colorful garments. On the day of the festival, families would gather to give thanks to Osun, asking for blessings for their farms, health, and families. This year, the festival was extra special because a wealthy merchant from the nearby city of Ibadan was rumored to be coming to the village in search of a wife. The girls in Aroko, especially Ajay, were excited about this news. They knew that if they impressed the merchant, they could marry into wealth and leave the village for a life of luxury. Kemi, as always, helped her mother prepare for the festival. They made yam pottage and packed it to bring to the festival grounds. Kemi was excited, but a part of her felt nervous. She knew that at the festival the girls would be dressed in their finest clothes, and once again she would be wearing her simple, worn-out wrapper and blouse. As the festival began, the village was alive with music and laughter. The women dressed in vibrant colors, their necks adorned with gold and beads, while the men gathered in groups, talking and drinking palm wine. Kemi stood with her mother near the entrance, watching the festivities. It wasn't long before the merchant from Ibadan arrived. His name was Adewale, and he was indeed a sight to behold. Tall, with a rich, deep voice and eyes that sparkled like the stars, Adewale commanded attention wherever he went. He wore fine clothes of deep blue and gold, with a necklace made of precious stones. The moment Adewale stepped into the village square, all the young women, including Ajay, rushed to catch his attention. They smiled, laughed, and showed off their fine clothes. But Adewale seemed uninterested. He greeted everyone politely, but continued to look around the square, as if searching for something or someone. Kemi watched from a distance, feeling invisible in the crowd of brightly dressed women. She didn't try to approach Adewale, knowing that she had nothing to offer. She didn't have the beauty of Ajay or the expensive clothes that the other girls wore. She simply focused on helping her mother serve food to the festival goers. As she bent down to pick up a pot of stew, she didn't realize that Adewale had noticed her. He had seen the flashy displays of the other women, but there was something about Kemi's quiet, humble nature that caught his attention. She didn't try to impress anyone. She was just being herself. Adewale walked toward her. "Excuse me," he said in a gentle voice. Startled, Kemi looked up, her heart racing. "Yes," she replied softly. "I've been watching you," Adewale said with a kind smile. "You are different from the others. What is your name?" "Kemi," she whispered, barely able to believe that the handsome merchant was speaking to her. As Adewale continued to talk to Kemi, Ajay and her friends noticed and began to whisper among themselves. "Why is he talking to her?" Ajay sneered. "She doesn't even have a necklace." Kemi overheard the cruel words, and her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. But before she could say anything, Adewale smiled at her warmly. "Don't listen to them," he said softly. "There is more to a person than what they wear or how they look." Kemi nodded, but the pain of Ajay's words still lingered in her heart. She thanked Adewale for his kindness and quickly excused herself, retreating to a quiet spot by the river to collect her thoughts. As she sat by the water, the cool breeze brushing against her skin, she suddenly heard a voice. "Kemi," it whispered. Startled, Kemi looked around but saw no one. "Who's there?" she called out. Again the voice came soft and soothing. "Kemi, come closer to the water." Hesitantly, Kemi approached the riverbank, and to her amazement, she saw a shimmering light beneath the surface of the water. Out of the depths emerged a beautiful woman dressed in flowing robes of silver and gold. Her hair glistened like the sun, and her eyes sparkled with kindness. "I am Osun, the goddess of this river," the woman said. "I have been watching you, Kemi, and I see your heart. You are kind, and though you may not see it, you are beautiful." Kemi was speechless. The goddess Osun was speaking to her. Osun smiled at Kemi's surprise. "I have something for you, my dear," she said, raising her hand. From the depths of the river, a glowing necklace emerged. It was made of the finest pearls and glittered like the stars. "This necklace," Osun said, "is enchanted. It will bring out your inner beauty for all to see. But remember, it is not the necklace that makes you special, it is your heart. The necklace will only work as long as you remain true to yourself." Kemi hesitated, unsure if she should accept such a gift. "But I don't need a necklace to be happy," she said quietly. Osun smiled gently. "This necklace is not just for you. It will help you on your journey. Wear it when you are ready, and you will see its magic." Kemi thanked the goddess and carefully took the necklace. As Osun disappeared back into the river, Kemi felt a strange sense of calm wash over her. She wasn't sure when she would wear the necklace, but she knew that it was meant for something greater. The next day, Kemi returned to the village, still thinking about her encounter with Osun. She hadn't told anyone about the necklace, keeping it hidden under her blouse. However, Ajay noticed something different about Kemi. Though Kemi was dressed in her usual simple clothes, she seemed to glow with a quiet confidence that Ajay couldn't understand. "What is it with her?" Ajay muttered to her friends. "She's hiding something." Ajay's jealousy began to grow. She couldn't stand the fact that Adewale had spoken to Kemi instead of her. I'll find out what she's hiding, Ajay vowed to herself. Meanwhile, Kemi continued her daily life as usual. She helped her mother in the fields, cared for her brother, and stayed humble, even as whispers of her encounter with Adewale spread through the village. That evening, Kemi sat in her room, holding the enchanted necklace in her hands. The pearls glistened in the dim light, reflecting the moon's glow through her window. What if this necklace could change my life forever, she wondered. What if it really does make people see the beauty inside of me? But Kemi was hesitant. She had always been proud of her hard work and her ability to see the good in people. She didn't want the necklace to change who she was. Still, the thought of finally being noticed, of being seen as more than just a simple village girl, tempted her. As she sat there in thought, she heard her mother's voice from the kitchen. Kemi, come help with the cooking. The call brought Kemi back to reality, and she quickly tucked the necklace back into its hiding place. She was not yet ready to use it. Ajay, on the other hand, was growing desperate. She needed to know what Kemi was hiding. She decided to pay a visit to Babatunde, the village herbalist and seer. Babatunde was known for his wisdom and his ability to see things that others could not. When Ajay arrived at Babatunde's hut, she explained her frustration. Baba, I need to know what Kemi is hiding. She's different now, and I suspect she has something that gives her power. Babatunde listened carefully and then nodded. The river goddess Osun has blessed Kemi with a gift, he said. But beware, child. Jealousy is a dangerous path. Do not let it consume you. Ajay, however, ignored his warning. Tell me, Baba, how can I find out more about this gift? Babatunde sighed. The only way to uncover the truth is through patience. Watch Kemi closely and you will learn what you need to know. But remember, you cannot force what is not yours. Ajay left the hut, determined to uncover Kemi's secret, no matter the cost. The next day, Kemi finally decided to wear the necklace. She felt a strange energy coursing through her as soon as she placed it around her neck. It wasn't a feeling of power, but one of peace and confidence. As she walked through the village, people began to notice her in a different way. Kemi, you look so radiant today, an elderly woman said as she passed by. Have you done something different? Another villager asked. Kemi smiled, feeling a new sense of confidence but not arrogance. She greeted everyone with her usual warmth, but now it seemed that people were paying attention to her in a way they never had before. Even Adewale, who was visiting the village again, noticed something different. Kemi, you seem to shine even brighter today, he said as they spoke near the market. Kemi blushed, her heart filled with joy, but Ajay, watching from a distance, clenched her fists. She must be using some sort of magic, Ajay whispered angrily. I will find out what it is. Over the next few days, Kemi continued to wear the necklace, and with each passing moment, she felt more at ease with herself. She didn't flaunt her new glow, nor did she seek attention, but it seemed that people couldn't help but notice her kindness and warmth more than before. Adewale, too, spent more time with Kemi. They would often walk together by the river or sit and talk in the village square. He admired her simplicity, her intelligence, and her gentle heart. Kemi, you are unlike anyone I have ever met, he told her one day. You have a rare beauty inside and out. Kemi's heart swelled with happiness, but Ajay's envy had reached its peak. She could no longer stand to see Kemi receiving the attention she had always desired for herself. "I will take that necklace from her," Ajay declared to her friends one evening. "Whatever magic she has, it will be mine." That night, while everyone in the village slept, Ajay snuck to Kemi's house. She knew that Kemi had been wearing the necklace every day, but she had seen her remove it before going to bed. Quietly, Ajay crept through the shadows, making her way to Kemi's room. Through the window, she saw Kemi sleeping soundly, the necklace lying on the table beside her bed. Carefully, Ajay reached through the window and snatched the necklace, her heart pounding with excitement and fear. "Now I will be the one everyone notices," Ajay whispered as she held the glowing pearls in her hand. She quickly fled back to her own house, eager to try on the enchanted necklace. The next morning, Ajay eagerly put on the necklace, expecting the same glow and admiration that Kemi had received. As she walked through the village, she waited for people to notice her, but something was wrong. Instead of admiration, the villagers looked at Ajay with confusion. "What's wrong with her?" someone whispered. "She looks strange." Ajay felt uneasy. She glanced at her reflection in a nearby pool of water and gasped. The necklace had transformed her, but not in the way she had expected. Her face, once beautiful, now looked twisted and unnatural. Her skin had a strange, pale glow, and her eyes were filled with an unsettling light. "What's happening to me?" Ajay cried. She ran back to her house, terrified by what she had become. When Kemi awoke that morning, she immediately noticed that the necklace was gone. Panic filled her heart. "Where is it?" she cried, searching her room frantically. She knew the necklace had been stolen, but she didn't know by whom. As the day went on, Kemi felt a strange emptiness without the necklace. She realized that the necklace had become more than just a gift from Osun. It had given her confidence and strength that she had never felt before. Now without it, she felt vulnerable and unsure of herself. But Kemi knew that the necklace did not define her. She still had her kind heart and her good nature, and that was what truly mattered. "I will find the necklace," she told herself, "but I will not let it control who I am." Meanwhile, Ajay's situation grew worse. The necklace had begun to burn against her skin, and her once beautiful face was now a hideous mask of jealousy and greed. Desperate, she returned to Baba Tunde for help. "Baba, please, you must help me," Ajay cried as she entered the herbalist's hut. "The necklace I stole from Kemi, it's cursed. It has made me into a monster." Babatunde shook his head sadly. "I warned you, Ajay. The necklace was not meant for you. It was a gift from the goddess Osun, and only those with a pure heart can wear it. Your jealousy has brought this curse upon you." Tears filled Ajay's eyes. "What can I do?" she begged. "You must return the necklace to its rightful owner," Babatunde said. "Only then will the curse be lifted." Ashamed and terrified, Ajay knew she had no choice but to return the necklace to Kemi. That night, while everyone was asleep, she crept back to Kemi's house. This time she didn't sneak through the window. Instead, she knocked on the door, her heart heavy with guilt. Kemi, surprised to see Ajay standing at her doorstep, opened the door cautiously. "Ajay, what are you doing here?" With trembling hands, Ajay held out the necklace. "I stole this from you," she confessed, tears streaming down her face. "I thought it would make me beautiful and powerful, but it has only brought me misery. I'm sorry, Kemi. Please forgive me." Kemi, though shocked by Aya's actions, could see the pain in her eyes. She took the necklace from Aya's hands and nodded. I forgive you, Kemi said softly. But remember, true beauty comes from within, not from magic or power. The next morning, as Kemi sat by the river, she heard the familiar voice of Osun. You have done well, Kemi, the goddess said as she emerged from the water. You have shown kindness and forgiveness even to those who have wronged you. Kemi smiled. Thank you, goddess, she said. But I am confused. Why did the necklace work for me but not for Ajay? Osun's eyes sparkled with wisdom. The necklace is enchanted, but it does not create beauty. It only reveals what is already in your heart. You are kind, humble, and true to yourself, which is why the necklace brought out your inner glow. Ajay, however, was driven by jealousy and greed, and the necklace reflected that. Kemi nodded, understanding now that the necklace had been a tool, not the source of her beauty. She realized that her strength came from her character, not from any magical object. Ajay, though forgiven by Kemi, still felt the weight of her actions. She had learned a hard lesson about envy and the dangers of trying to take what was not hers. Determined to change, she began to make amends with the villagers. She apologized to those she had wronged and worked hard to rebuild the trust she had lost. Though it took time, Ajay slowly began to earn back the respect of the village, not through her looks or wealth, but through her actions. One evening, Ajay visited Baba Tunde, the village herbalist who had warned her about the dangers of jealousy. She sat before him, humbled by her experiences. Baba, she began, I have learned my lesson. I understand now that true beauty comes from the heart, not from the outside. But I want to continue on this path of becoming a better person. How can I continue to grow? Babatunde nodded approvingly. You are on the right path, Ajay. Growth comes from within, and it is a journey that never ends. Keep showing kindness, not for the sake of others' approval, but because it is the right thing to do. As time passed, Kemi and Ajay's relationship began to change. Where once there had been jealousy and competition, there was now a mutual respect. Ajay, after apologizing and making amends, slowly became part of Kemi's circle. Though it was difficult at first, the villagers were surprised to see them spending time together, but Kemi believed in forgiveness and gave Ajay a chance to prove she had changed. One day while walking through the village, Ajay saw a group of women gossiping about Kemi. How could Adewale choose her? One woman whispered. She may be kind, but she's still not as beautiful as Ajay. Ajay overheard their words, and for a moment the old jealousy flared up inside her, but she quickly pushed the feeling aside. Kemi's beauty comes from her heart, she said aloud to the women, surprising them, and that's the most important kind of beauty. The women stared at Ajay, stunned by her words. Slowly they nodded in agreement. It was a small victory for Ajay, but one that showed she had truly changed. One quiet evening, as the sun began to set over the village, Adewale came to visit Kemi's home. He had grown closer to her with each passing day, admiring not only her beauty, but her character. He had traveled to many places, met many people, but no one had ever touched his heart the way Kemi had. Kemi, unaware of the significance of the visit, greeted Adewale with her usual warmth. They sat under the shade of a large tree in her family's compound, talking about life and their dreams. Then, with a deep breath, Adewale turned to Kemi and took her hand. Kemi, he said softly, you have shown me what true beauty and kindness are. You have changed the way I see the world, and I cannot imagine my life without you. Will you marry me? Kemi's heart raced as she heard his words. Tears filled her eyes as she realized that this moment, the moment she had never dared to dream about, had finally come. "Yes," she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. "I will marry you." News of Kemi and Adewale's engagement spread quickly through the village of Aroko. Some villagers were surprised that a wealthy merchant like Adewale had chosen a simple village girl like Kemi, but many others admired him for seeing the true beauty in her heart. The women who had once mocked Kemi, including those who had envied her, now spoke kindly of her. "She deserves this," they said. "She has always been kind, even when we were not, and now she has found happiness." Ajay too was happy for Kemi. Though she had once hoped to win Adewale's heart for herself, she had learned that true love is based on more than appearances. "Kemi deserves this," Ajay told herself. "She has a beautiful soul." As the wedding day approached, the village buzzed with excitement. Kemi's family was overjoyed, especially her mother, Iyatinu, who had always known that Kemi was special. The villagers gathered to help prepare for the big day, decorating the village square with colorful flowers and preparing traditional dishes for the celebration. Adewale's family also arrived from the city, bringing with them gifts and clothes for the ceremony. Though they were wealthy and used to the luxuries of city life, they admired Kemi's humble upbringing and were eager to welcome her into their family. Kemi, overwhelmed by the love and support around her, couldn't believe how far she had come. She had always dreamed of finding happiness, but she never imagined it would come in such a beautiful way. The day of the wedding arrived, and the village was filled with music, laughter, and joy. Kemi, dressed in a beautiful gown of white and gold, stood with her mother as they prepared for the ceremony. Her heart was filled with happiness, but also with a sense of gratitude for the journey she had taken. As she walked down the aisle, surrounded by the smiling faces of the villagers, she saw Adewale waiting for her at the altar. His eyes were filled with love and admiration, and Kemi felt her heart swell with emotion. The ceremony was simple but beautiful. The village elders blessed the couple, and Adewale and Kemi exchanged their vows. As they stood together, hand in hand, the village erupted in cheers, celebrating not only their union but the love and kindness that had brought them together. Though the wedding was a joyous occasion, Ajay couldn't help but reflect on her own journey. She had learned so much from her experiences about jealousy, forgiveness, and the true meaning of beauty. As she watched Kemi and Adewale exchange vows, she felt a deep sense of peace. Ajay knew that her own path was far from over. She still had much to learn and many more ways to grow. But she was grateful for the lessons she had learned, and she vowed to continue becoming a better person, not for anyone else, but for herself. That evening, as the village celebrated Kemi and Adewale's wedding, Ajay sat quietly by the riverbank, watching the reflection of the moon in the water. She smiled to herself, knowing that she had finally found peace within her heart. After the wedding, Kemi and Adewale moved to the city where he had built a successful business. Though Kemi had grown up in the village, she quickly adapted to her new life in the city. She continued to live with the same humility and kindness that had always defined her, and soon she became loved by everyone in her new home. Adewale's family welcomed Kemi with open arms, and together they built a life filled with love, respect, and joy. Kemi's hard work and dedication to her family never wavered, and she continued to help others, just as she had in the village. Though she lived in a new place, Kemi never forgot the lessons she had learned from the river goddess Osun. She wore the enchanted necklace on special occasions, but she knew that its true power lay in the love and kindness she carried in her heart. Years passed, and Kemi and Adewale's family grew. They had children of their own, whom they raised with the same values of kindness, humility, and hard work. Kemi's story became a legend in the village of Aroko, a tale that mothers told their daughters to remind them that true beauty comes from within. RJ too continued on her path of redemption. She eventually married a kind man from the village and built a life of her own, filled with love and purpose. She often visited Kemi in the city, and the two women remained close friends. As for the enchanted necklace, it remained a symbol of the lesson that Kemi had learned, that true beauty, true strength, and true happiness come not from what we wear or how we look, but from the love and goodness we carry in our hearts. And so Kemi's journey came to an end, but her story lived on, teaching generations to come the value of kindness, humility, and the power of inner beauty. True beauty and strength come from within. Kindness, humility, and love are far more valuable than outward appearances or material wealth. By staying true to oneself and embracing the power of inner goodness, one can find lasting happiness and peace. Thank you for tuning in to Tales Motherland again. We sincerely appreciate your viewership and likes and comments. Please be sure to hit the subscribe and like button and stay connected to us for new intriguing African stories and folktale. Once again, thanks for watching.